we're trying to distill this out of improving user experience in lieu of business metrics into a simple set of numbers and a call to action, right? And if you will, I think a lot of us, this is the screen that we dreamt about, right? I want to know what is the annual goal for my business that I can achieve with the recommendations created by Blue Triangle, based on real recommendations that could take me there. And I also want to see that my team has already been actually acting on it. $5.5 million out of this goal is actually revenue that I have been able to show to my business as a product manager. That's a win, right? And then I can take it to an action. And I'm sure in the next question also we'll get into the call to action here. But this is what we wanted to do: a simple call to action that gives you in the morning coffee, what should I focus on today?
Well, that's a great jumping off point. Why don't you walk us through the loop? So if I'm a product leader, not a developer, what does it actually look like for me to identify a friction point, see what it costs, and determine whether it's worth fixing?
Absolutely. So when I wake up in the morning, I could see that my business could gain $157 million in this year if I use the recommendations produced by Blue Triangle from my real users' data, right? I can see that my team started already working on it, and we're making progress towards that objective. Now, for some product managers, they might come and say, "Well, it's a big number. I'm kind of uncomfortable." We can scale that number for you. But the main point is, okay, now we can split it into the various business metrics. So there could be this dashboard for your iOS native app lead, or this dashboard for your web lead. Everyone in their own, if you will, general management area could have this dashboard. Now, there are two workflows. You could go and say, just show me the top recommendations. I'm greedy. I want to work on the biggest one. I would go to show me. That would take me to a dashboard. And it just so happens that the first one has to do with Android native app, 730K annualized revenue. Blue Triangle tells me that's around a medium type effort, something to do with home screen. Let's go and take a look. And so I go and take a look. And for me as a product manager, this overview screen would go and say, okay, your home screen seeing significant initialization delays. By the way, everything that I show here would apply also for web technology. So this is specific for mobile apps. By optimizing the app lifecycle sequence, deferring non-essential background tasks, and on and on. We're starting to drill into the specific, more and more technical data. For me as a product manager, this is becoming a little bit slippery. What do I show to a developer? And so I want to just check that there's enough background data that would show in here what's actually happening. And a developer can actually take this task and now take an action on it, right? And so they can see the user story. This is intentionally very built to the common Jira workflow. There's a user story, there's an acceptance criteria, what is the result and what is the effort. And then I can go ahead and share it, share directly to Jira is coming very soon, but now I can share it like this. So this is one workflow. Another workflow that I'm going to show you very, very quickly is what if your team has specific skills or focus or area of temporary, our focus of the week. What if we want to focus on browser and INP? This is an area that we had a lot of complaints. Let's go and look at that. So if I go by area, I could see a number of different recommendations. This one is the probably most attractive one, 14.4 million. It's new, just created. Let's take a look. And so the same kind of workflow, I can see the recommendations. I can control the state of that recommendation. Let's say that I spoke to Nick and he's my developer, and we agree that we want to go and work on this. I would move it to in progress and so forth. The sort of the cycle continues.
Great.
Man, that's really impressive. I mean, you're telling me that these are like engineer ready. I can just take this as a product manager, fire this over to my engineers, and they're good to go.
That's the goal, certainly. We have stress tested it with a couple of product managers and business leaders and developers. And the feedback we got so far is it can be better, but it will work. And so that's what makes me very happy.
And where can it be better?
Certainly, this is created using a combination of our revenue opportunity algorithm your user data, and AI. So putting all these things together and improving the prompts to making sure that the data supporting the recommendation itself is more accurate, the revenue and the effort that we're proposing is more accurate, that will lead to more relevant and more adoption of these recommendations.
That's really awesome. I mean, I think that's a standard kind of AI practice nowadays. Like when I'm hitting ChatGPT just to, like going back to my project example, try to figure out what to do about this, replacing the sink. It's, I look at it with a grain of salt, right? It's going to give me the ability to know kind of sort of what I'm supposed to do, but it's not going to turn me into an immediate top line expert, right? But it's going to get me way closer than YouTube used to. I'll tell you that. And so I think there's a lot of appetite in the AI space where velocity's coming through and it's allowing us to understand, hey, we can be a lot faster, but you have to do this with a really keen eye, because if you're just blindly taking AI and then just throwing it all over the place, you're going to cause just as much hallucination in your digital experience as there was in the AI prompt that resulted. So I really like the way you're approaching that, Amir. That's a savvy acknowledgement of the way AI works nowadays.
I appreciate it.
So Amir, once they've made these changes, they've implemented these changes, then there's a way to then easily tell how much revenue is recaptured to go back to management with?
Yeah, so you see a tab here, which is really very relevant to your question. Right now it is coming soon, but it's based on innovation that Nick led that basically takes our existing metrics a week ahead of the change and the existing metrics a week ahead of the change. And to your point, when you think about planning for Black Friday, we take the increase or change in the number of sessions, the increase or change in the average order value, the increase or change in in the conversion. We look at all of these parameters and analyze, number one, the bottom line revenue change, but also all of the attribution of all of these elements. And then we would tell you, this is what changed, this is what you did good or did bad, and how to improve on that. And then we would show you a next set of recommendations that have grown out of that. And so we're starting this flywheel where you go and work on something. You can, if it's deployed, you can come back to the business and say, this is what happened. Here's the justification to continue working in this direction. And here are the next 3 recommendations I could be working on.
Great.